just a second, make sure everybody's in good shape. There it is, 1 second. You see the 2, the next second you got the drop, and here we go. Who is it? Is that Jimmy Jarrett? I believe it is on that number 2. No, Lee Walston on the number 11 machine. Lee finishing, whoa, a big swap out of the number 11 going into turn number 2, going into that long short shoot, and Lee Walston able to gather it up and get it back underneath of him there. Here we go into that 10 Commandments section, and I gotta tell you, they gave the whole shot to Walston, but is that Jarrett out front already? I mean, they were almost side by side as they come through those trees. Can't tell if that's a 2 or a 12.
You know, I think that kind of happened out there in Moto 1 on the restart. If you remember, we had a red flag on this one almost instantly, and they had to redo this one. So here we are back out here in Moto number 2 now.
And that is definitely Jimmy Jarrett. I just saw Dyson for the lead.
Yeah, he the second start, he got off to a second place start, I think, but eventually worked his way into the number 1 spot, as he has here today. Lee Walston now in the number 2 spot. That's where he finished in Moto number 1. The next rider we'll be looking for some consistency's sake is Andy Matthew out of Maine on that 15 machine.
Yeah, Andy rounding out the top 3 in that first moto. Take a look a little further back. 4th was Rob Floth, and finishing 5th in that first moto. Let's see here. I believe, Chris Hunter. So all those guys in contention, but we have to find out where those guys are riding right now, because it's so important to have to put it together 3 times, and one good moto doesn't get it done here, Rodney. A lot of times one really good moto can save the day, but not the case at Loretta Lynn's. It's all about that one bad moto here is what it's all about.
That is so very true, no doubt about that, as Jarrett checks in Lee Walston. There's Michael Mercer. Now, I kind of expected a little better ride out of Michael Mercer.
So did he.
I think so. I mean, he finished 7th place position. He is one of the younger guys in this senior 40-plus class out here. So I think, that he came into this one in hopes of being a contender for the national championship, as he is a fast guy out of the western Ohio area, Cincinnati, the Queen City. So, and a lot of these riders he's crossed paths with over more than one occasion. So, I know that was his heart. And that's what he's gunning for here today. A better start in Moto 2. He's in 3rd. Andy Matthew in the 4th place position. Justin McCloskey is 5th. Chris Hunter 6th. That rider is one that is very methodical. He's a lot of fun to watch ride out there. He's back in 6th place right now. Christopher McMillan at 7th. Chad Gokenauer in the 8th place position, who I believe got the whole shot in that second start of the senior 40-plus class. And then we've got Chris Swaney in 9th, and Rob Floth, who was a top 3 rider in the early part of that race, back there in the number 10 spot. He finished 4th in Moto number 1, currently running in the 10 spot.
Wow, Rodney, that was a mouthful. We're just on lap number 2 right now. Look back at that guy, Rob Floth, you're talking about. Set some seriously fast lap times in that first moto, but got caught up in some traffic. Ended up passing the same guy 2 or 3 times. You got to hate it when that happens. You pass a guy, you fall over, you make a slight mistake, you go deep in that corner, you got to repass him for another position. And right now, Rob on the move. Looks like he's hanging in there. Next time around, going to get some lap time. So we're going to see what these guys are actually playing against and what it's going to take to get to the front.
Yeah, we'll be able to check back a little further through the pack to see who's on the move right now and who's trying to make up some gains. Andy Matthew, I think, is a rider that may be on the move on board that number 15 machine right now, so we'll be keeping an eye on him. And as well, Chris Hunter is another rider. That number 50, I think, is going to show us a little bit of masterful skill in this senior 40-plus class, Moto number 2.
Rodney got another guest up in the tower right now. Chad Reed, good to see you, man. Want to have you hang out. Want to do some race call? Want to do a little bit of race call? Want to hang in here with Rodney for a little bit? Awesome. Have a seat, man. Here's a hot mic.
All righty. Wow.
Howdy.
Howdy. Chad Reed, Rodney Tomlin. Nice to make your acquaintance there, my friend, as we got the stage set on this one. Now, Chad, I know that you're really kind of fresh from the professional ranks of things, but I see you watching some of these age classes out here with a little bit of fever and a little bit of eagerness.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously are watching plus 40. That'll be me next year, but I don't believe that I'm allowed to ride this one as a past pro, so we'll have to just take it in.
Yeah, there you go. I think maybe like a plus 35 or something like that you might be eligible for. But that one,
I know that there's a bunch of rules and I need to learn about it, and I've kind of poked my interest out there, but
and I think that's neat. You know, you're one of the few top American motocross stars and supercross stars that made your way through the ranks that didn't actually travel through the ranch here at Loretta, Lynn.
No, it's the one box that I never got to tick. So what helps that box right now is my 3 children's need for speed and their love for 2 wheels and ongoing motorcycle love. So yeah,
now,
I mean,
does that mean we're going to see you out here as a race dad, possibly?
Possibly, I hope so. I mean, for their own sake, I hope that you know, if this is their goal, racing motorcycles, then obviously as an amateur, this is your
right. This
your
is
end game, right?
Yeah.
So I hope that we're here in the near future if that's their goal. But we've got a lot of time between now.
A lot of time. I like the fact that you're not pressuring anybody. And Jason Wygant, to answer your question, and we were talking about that just a moment ago. He said this class, the 40-plus class, is the class that I'll be eligible for next year as far as age. But he doesn't think he'll be eligible as far as his past classifications and so forth.
You might know the rules. We don't know the rules. Changes every rule, right?
Talk to Davey.
I think we need a vet pro race.
I think
we
you're
need
right. As many
pro.
as these names that are coming back, I think that would be a good idea to bring some of the past. It would be a legitimate class and offer you guys a good purse too, right? Yeah, keep it amateur with a good purse. Jimmy Jarrett after 3, Lee Walston, Michael Mercer still in 3rd, Andy Matthew in that number 4 spot, Chris Hunter, Justin McCloskey, Sean Nutt, Tony Wink out of the Weisco camp, Christopher McMillan and Rob Floss still back there in the number 10 spot. Wink really seeing some great advancements out of this rider, and industry personnel, I guess you could say. He's really come a long way in the last couple of years, and to see him riding a solid top 10 out here today is really inspiring. There's no doubt about it. But watching right now, the gap, the race right now is for second. Lee Walston under pressure as Michael Mercer has made his way up into position and putting that challenge on the number 11 machine as we rolled into this 4th lap of racing. And as we roll through the 4th lap of racing, I think this battle continues to wage on right now.
Just reminds me of watching a national. Looks brutal out there.
It does, doesn't it? And that's, I mean, looking at these, I mean, you would think this was a pro motocross national looking at this racetrack.
I mean, I got to walk around on the track during the Super Mini race earlier, and man, it was gnarly actually. Like, it's one thing to see the track on the TV screen, but getting down there on the side of it was brings back all those memories of how gnarly it gets in motocross.
So love to be able to relive those memories, I'm sure. But right now, these guys right here are making memories from this 40-plus class. But all the amateur racing that we have here, it's just amazing what this race means to them, and even not only these little kids out here, but what the pride of this race right here means. I mean, there's nothing really on the line for these guys except for bragging rights right now.
Which is all you need, right? Bragging rights means everything. I think at this level, bragging rights is what it's all about, and that's what keeps it fun. And I'm sure a lot of these guys, grew up at the ranch at some point during their younger years, and here they are, plus 40 out here, loving it still. So it's awesome to see.
It is. As we head down behind the billboard, still Michael Mercer. There is the 11 of Lee Walston, and right there on the rear bumper is Andy Matthew. Matthew trying to go to the inside now as he's trying to steal that 3rd place position away from Ralston, but it looks like Walston is going to keep him right there at bay. And Chris Hunter's another rider we need to be keeping an eye on. He's still about 4.5 seconds back, but that's the rider that was really mixing things up there in Moto number 1 as well. And if he can get a wheel in, it could get pretty exciting, because once he seems expired, he really seems to find a little more speed out there.
Protecting the inside as well. I like that. Just when it's ruddy like this, you can be so dominant on the inside and make the other guy go the long way around.
Yeah, and it's neat. It's funny how you watch these lines, and sometimes a rider, they'll take the outside line, but whenever they're under pressure, they always seem to go to the inside, like you say, like that right there. But it didn't seem to pay off or will it.
for the 11 of Walston. It looks like the outside line actually paid dividends for Matthew as he swept around the outside and took over the third place position.
Yeah, Lee gave that one up right there. As Chad said, you protect that. It's just a racer's instinct to go for that inside line, protect it. But you get to a point, Chad, where it goes away, right? That line, and it a couple laps before you get there. You're like, this thing's only going to work one more time.
Especially here, there's so much traffic on this track, and from literally 50s all the way through the ranks, and it's like every one of these bikes have different ways, and a 65 rut isn't ideal for a 450 and all those kinds of things, and you're taking all that on its speed, so it's crazy. I love watching these guys and the little mistakes that they watch, and how they start out thinking, oh yeah, the track's going to be like this, and then immediately having to readjust and move to the outside or in the middle of the racetrack.
I don't think you can recognize or realize what this racetrack is like until you're facing it yourself. And unless you've been in a circumstance or a situation like yourself where you've raced the outdoor Pro Motocross Nationals, I think you will be surprised every time you meet this track for the first time.
Yeah, and that's maybe why it's taken me this long to think about it. Looks like it's bumps on bumps. That's what looks like. Prepping for this race, I would imagine, experience would be so nice, because just from what I've experienced, at least seeing the track, it's just literally bumps on bumps, and if you haven't ridden tracks like that, it reminds me honestly of a Thursday at Glen Helen or something like that, where you just got multiple bike use, different levels of riders, and they just create different racetrack.
That's the truth. You got all these different caliber riders, all different sizes. It gets hard packed out there, Glen Helen. Like he said, man, it's a traffic jam. And one line's working one lap. It's not working the next lap. The 65 makes a different line than the 450. That's exactly what he's talking about. That's 100% correct.
Well, 8 minutes, a little more than 8 minutes left in this senior 40-plus class. Michael Mercer, your fastest rider so far at 2:07.9, just under the 2:08. Jimmy Jarrett not much off that pace at a 2:08.285, so still holding down the lead point with 7.8 seconds between himself and Andy Matthew now. Again, Lee Walston dropping to the number 3 spot. Chris Hunter in that 4th place position is still about 6 seconds back. I'm kind of surprised. I expected that Hunter might reel these front 3 in and begin to challenge, but he seems to have found a comfortable spot back there in the number 4 position. If you look at those Moto 1 results, he finished 5th in that first Moto, so he might be looking for the consistency on that Team Green Kawasaki out there today.
Consistency pays the bills, I think. Putting it in there, putting it up front consistently, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about that, Chad, and you may or may not recognize this, but sometimes, especially in some of these C classes, I've seen riders that didn't even grace the presence of the podium, didn't even have a Moto medal win the national championship. It's crazy with 4s and 5s and things like that, and still win the national championship. So that's the beauty of this 3-Moto format too. I think it really brings the best to the top as far as that goes.
Yeah, and like one other thing, one element to it is the start procedure and how you pick a gate. It's not like these guys, go out and practice and set the world on fire and then get to, 1, 2, 3 gate pick. It's literally, I think, picking a chip, and so it's kind of luck of the draw for the first moto, and you may be horrendous and way outside and put yourself in a situation when you're coming from behind, right from the get-go. So.
And the one thing that surprises me mostly about that is how fair the starting gate is. Obviously there's certain places on the starting line that you want to be, but when you see riders pulling starts from the middle of the gate, from the left side, from the right side, either the far inside, the far outside, or the middle of I mean, when you're seeing them pull from all angles like that, that's an even starting gate that you've got down there.
Yeah, it's fast too, it's right-hander where typically they're all used to going left, and it's the one thing that I watch, and it doesn't matter whether it's the 65 kids or the old guys. I feel like I can call them that now since I'm almost there, but it just like it gets your hairs on your arms, sticking up and get you excited about it.
Well, I'll tell you what, the one thing about getting closer to 40 and hitting 40, old all of a sudden seems older than 40, and old seems older than 50 whenever you reach 50. So you'll always be looking at the old guys from our perspective, man.
I like that. I'm going to stick with that too.
So 6 laps into this one, we are drawing nigh. We should be seeing a 2-lap board, if not this time around, definitely next time around for your leader, Jimmy Jarrett, who's still enjoying just under a 7-second lead over Andy Matthew. There is Jarrett checking in now. We'll see if he got that 2-lap board out this time. He does. So they got the 2-lap board out. We are 2 laps away from calling this one a Moto. Lee Walston now back into second. I didn't even see that happen, but Andy Matthew is third. Michael Mercer in the number 4 spot. Chris Hunter is 5th, so a little bit of a mix-up and a change-up on that one.
Hey, Chad Reed up here. I don't know if you got a chance to talk. You're all over the map. I know you're talking about coming here, checking it out. Maybe the kids will race. Your family does a lot of BMX racing. Have you talked about the fact that you're a track owner now as well? You're dipping into a lot of different waters here in your X-racing days.
Yeah, no, I mean, as most everyone knows, I love the sport of motocross. Ever since I was 4 years old, I've just been immersed into it, traveled the world, raced almost to 40 as a professional.
Yeah.
And man, it just, I don't miss the day-to-day grind of professional racing, but I certainly love getting out and, with Moto 40 in Statesville, North Carolina, definitely watching these guys, how they water, what they're watering with, the dozer, their track prep, and taking it all in. It's kind of like once upon a time you look at the race teams and what they're doing and their bikes and how they're tricking things out. Now I'm back to the I'm checking out water trucks and dozers and how they rip it and till it and all these kinds of things. It's kind of funny. Yeah.
Dude, he's so overqualified. So I was there with my kid on Wednesday, and the one track was shut down because you're rebuilding it. And you're like, I was on a dozer. You were actually there on a dozer. You were doing the rebuild of the track yourself.
Yeah. We started on a Monday, and we just got 3.5 inches of rain after like 10-hour day of work. So I definitely know what these guys go through when the elements come crashing down on them. So I was in a dozer from sun up to sundown, and then 3.5 inches, and literally had to take 2 days off and then try to fix it all again. So, we did a full rebuild.
We have an apprentice program here, and I think they would love to have you go down to the protest area and get yelled at by 50 parents. That's a true mark of a good promoter.
Yeah, if you want to learn what it's really like to operate a racetrack,
go get yelled at. Regardless of what you've
we should
done.
have Chad Reed, one of the more critical riders about tracks. So we'd have to have you talk to you about track prep and see if you can handle it and make yourself happy. Can you make yourself happy?
Yeah, my staff are always funny. Like I tell them, hey, like this is what I expect and this is what I think. And then the riders come up and basically talk to them, and it just, some things we fix and some things not so much.
Oh, okay. All right. You still have your opinion. Well, I have to say the one thing you always hear, especially when you have a track that's really a practice track, I know you're not holding races there, people want a smooth track because it's fun and it's fast and it's flowing. But if you want to actually practice and you want to actually get good, that's not what you should be asking for.
Yeah, and then to get these guys ready for Loretta's, there's a few guys that want to do that, but there's a ton more that do want that smooth racetrack. So it's a balance that he's going to have to figure out.
Yeah.
We did as a track promoter as well. Like, if you kick your client when he comes in the door and blow out his knee, he's not going to keep coming back for more.
Yeah. I can't barely even get out of first gear because it's so rutted. Yeah, but that's practice. That's skills. That's
and
skill building.
Your paying customers, not 90% of them are not trying to make it to Loretta Lynn. So it's tough. Like some people, like literally in that same conversation or 2 minutes apart, you'll get massive praise for how badass the track is, and then 2 minutes later you get beat up because it was too ruddy or it's too wet. It's just it's kind of it's coming full circle.
Somewhere there's some guy from Dirtworks laughing right now as he hears you say this.
Chad, finally,
get on that dozer.
No, but my favorite thing is if you're gonna call people out, give a solution or be willing to be able to help. And I personally can claim that I'll give you my opinion, but I'll also give you a solution, and I'll jump in the dozer and work the 10-hour days with you.
All right.
I'm good with and I've been driving equipment since I was 9 years old, so quite a decent understanding, I think, of how racetracks work. And
grinding out there. All right, checker flag is out. Jimmy Jarrett sitting on 1-1s, former GNCC racer, finished up second in this class last year to Chris Kiefer. And he said the goal is to come out and win the title. Looking good right now with the 1-1s. Michael Mercer and Lee Walston. Edward says, call me Lee, because Dad is Edward. Edward Jr., I guess, is third, and we'll send it down to Rodney, who's going to handle this podium 40 plus.
All righty, man. Getting the opportunity to walk up here and talk to an old friend of mine and yours, Jason, from the Grand National Cross Country Championship Series, talking about none other than the Jimmy Jarrett. And Jimmy, buddy, wow. Good to see you back here at Loretta Lynn's, and good to see you back up on the podium. I got to watch that first interview you got with Jason Wygant out there a little bit ago, or yesterday, I guess it would have been. So pretty cool stuff. Give this man a drink. He is thirsty right now. It may only be 84 degrees, but in that riding gear, it's 184 right now, I think, dude. I mean, this weather, Jimmy, I mean, that's one thing we can point out right now. Weather is great, but it's still hot out there on the racetrack, huh?
Yeah, it is. The track is the gnarliest I've ever seen it in the few years that I've been coming here. So give all these guys a credit for doing what they're doing, because it's not easy, and having a lot of fun, and I can't ask for better than a 1-1 so far.
No doubt. Tell us how you got that second one, man.
I got a good start. Dunlop tires hooking up awesome as usual, and I was able to make a few quick passes right off the get-go, right on the first lap, and get in front, and just kind of controlled the race from there, and made sure those guys just stayed, a little bit behind me. But I was giving about everything I had, so not much left.
Well, I tell you, that's all you had to have right there, and it got you to where you need to be. Do you have enough for one more, man? Yeah,
tomorrow's rest day, so I'm looking forward to that. So you'll catch me in the river most of the day.
All righty, man. That's cool, dude. Who do you want to say thanks to?
Definitely Carl Cycle, Fly Racing, Dunlop Tires for sure, hooking me up. 100% goggles, heated boots. All those guys that helped me, just thank you.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy Jarrett taking Moto 2 win. Sitting there with a couple of 1-1s as we head into that third and final moto. As Jimmy said, he's got an off day tomorrow. He's going to be splashing around in the creek. It's going to be a little warmer for tomorrow as well, as we bring up our second place finisher. Big changes there in the last lap or two, as the 18 of Michael Mercer making his way into the number 2 spot. And I made the statement early on in the race, I expected to see Michael a little more aggressive and a little more challenging in the motos. It took him a little while to get up to speed, by golly, but he got up to speed, and he makes that second place position as we welcome Michael Mercer to the podium. Hey, Michael, good job, buddy. Good to see you up here, man, and looks like that hard work over at SSR has been paying off for you, huh?
Yeah, man, I've been trying to get over there as much as I can. Work has been crazy for us, and being this old and 40, and going over there and training with the little kids, or younger kids, and they're having good success. I'm glad I could put it up here for Steven and everything he's been helping with.
Let's talk a little bit about this race, man, because you didn't have this one handed to you. You worked for this one.
Yeah, I got it. Man, first moto sucked, and then that start was terrible, and I made some moves the first lap. Got up into like 5th and got in there, and then I was catching him, man, 2 laps to go, and I made a mistake and lost it. Got back in there, but we got a third moto, and I think we can do it.
All righty, man. Congratulations to you. Stellar performance. Got the silver here in Moto 2. Who do you want to say thanks to?
First and foremost, I want to thank David Whitcraft. Without him, man, my suspension, my motors, it wouldn't happen. All the SSR boys, they've been helpful all week, helping me get some things fixed yesterday. Team Green Kawasaki, FXR, Randy Valade from Pro Taper coming to the starting line with me. Man, just everyone else behind me, man. It feels really good to finally get up here and get a podium for once at Loretta's.
There you go, Michael Mercer, ladies and gentlemen, getting his podium here in the plus 40 class, man. He says a lot of names, making me remember a lot of those. David Whitcraft. I remember David as a former 50cc champion, a PW champion here at Loretta Lynn's, a big rider up in District 11, and I believe this will be Lee Walston, if I'm not mistaken, taking the Lee, right? All right, so here it is. You got the whole shot, and you got yourself a third place position finish out there. So that is Moto Bronze. So let's talk a little bit about this one, Lee.
Man, I ride good the first third of the race. I sucked the second, third, and then I pick it back up the last part. I got to figure out that middle part of that moto, dude. We'll be all right.
Isn't that funny how that works? How you start out strong, and then you start to fade, and then all of a sudden you catch that second, third win, whatever it is, and you feel like there's nothing you could do wrong at that point.
Honestly, I think it's mental fade out here. You can't replicate this back home practicing. There's nothing you can do to replicate this track. So I think it's just more mental fade, and then you just start falling into a race at the end. So we'll figure it out.
I'm sure you will, buddy. Who do you want to say thanks to?
My dad, he's a mechanic. Greatest fan. Motorcycles. They've been with us for 30 years. Liquid Screen Designs, they do my graphics. Tag MX suspension. More paint and wallpaper. Cherby gear. X-brand goggles. I think I said more paint. Web Designs, he paints awesome helmets. Look him up. And NCMP for giving me a great place to practice. It's a good spot in North Carolina, so come check it out.
That sounds good. Anybody else?
No, that's it. But I want to take this and I want to dedicate it to the Shuttleworth family for what they're going through. So, you know, we're a close-knit bunch, and he needs it more than I do.
All righty, sounds good. Thank you very much.